Welcome to allaboutcoding.com. As always, if you're viewing this tutorial from YouTube, feel free to go to our website to view the full resolution video. In this tutorial, we'll be teaching you how to process an instant payment notification from PayPal. One important thing to know before we start is you must enable instant payment notification inside your PayPal account. To do this, go to your profile, and on the right-hand column you will see a link to instant payment notification. Inside this, you'll need to specify the URL of your code page that's going to accept this transaction. Also to be noted here is the fact that you're not going to be able to debug these pages very well. Being that PayPal requires this to be an exact URL, it's going to actually have to be on the web server to be tested. The only thing you really can do is to go to My Computer, right-click on it, and say Manage. And then you can look at the application logs, and they will give you some small information on the error that may be having if you had an invalid cast or something like that. But that's about the only way you're going to be able to debug, so double check your code before you upload your page. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started here. The first thing we need to start with is all our using statements. You'll notice that a lot of these are not really very useful, but they're the standard ones that are included in a .NET 3.5 application. However, there are several that are required by this code, so just go ahead and use all the ones we have here, including the system.net.mail, as this will be the one that you need to use for sending out any kind of emails, which we've discussed in a previous tutorial. For this page, all of our code is going to be handled in the onload event, and we're going to start off with a couple strings, one for each of the URLs for our test bed as well as our live server. Next, we're going to open up an HTTP web request and send it the URL of whichever one we're using here. Now, how IPN works is PayPal will send you a URL string to your specified page. You will then add a special string to the end of that and send that back to them, and they'll send you back either a validation or a failure response. What we're going to do here is set our request method to post and set what kind of content we're going to be receiving. And then we are going to load the entire response string into a byte array. Then we are going to convert that byte array into standard ASCII characters because it is come across as a URL encoded. We're just going to put that in a string so we can play around with it. Then to that string we're going to add and cmd equals underscore notified dash validate. The next thing we're going to do is open up a stream writer, and we're going to give it our request string that we have there, and we are going to write this out to PayPal. Then the next thing we're going to do is have a stream reader and read back in the response. You can see here with the request get response object. We are then going to take that response that they give us, store it in a string, close our stream, and then we can do some if-then statements on our string. There are two possible things you can receive back from PayPal, either verified or invalid, but you also want to check in case there's some kind of other unknown error, just have a fell out else statement. Well, so far this is pretty much the guts of the part that is specific to PayPal. A couple things you'll want to note is when you do have a verified response from PayPal, that is just verifying that the transaction took place. The next thing you want to do is you actually need to check for the status. There can be multiple statuses depending on if it's cleared, if it's pending, if it's from a bank account, if it was a chargeback. You need to check for all these things. The next thing you'll want to also check for is you want to validate your data. You don't want somebody manipulating your buy now buttons and trying to pay a penny for a product or service that would cost much more than that. So you do want to validate all those things there before you process the payment or do anything really automated. One last thing to note before we conclude this tutorial is that when you're creating your button within PayPal, it does give you the option to have a couple fields along with that. They could be drop-down fields or text boxes. You can actually convert these into hidden fields as well. use these to transfer any important information, like maybe the customer ID or something along that matter, because the email address they use for their PayPal may not be the same email address that they have with your website. So this is going to conclude our tutorial for today. Feel free to come to allaboutcoding.com and view the full resolution image if you're viewing this on YouTube. Also, you can download the source code for this project. As always, feel free to leave any responses or contact us with your questions.